Gimel Amid Aleph. Just so the recording makes sure that everyone who watches it sees the sushi they're missing. Shikl double-decker matzav today. Interesting. Kiddush double out onto the plate. Okay. Here we go. Then I can go continue reading. Says the Heilige Gemara, Omar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak. We're about 12 lines from the top. Gimel Amid Aleph. First word on the line is Vafilu Hachi or bar Yitzchak. 2 lines back to back. Omar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak. Halach. What is the minimum size of a sukkah? Says Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak. We already sort of touched upon this. Says the Gemara. Sricha shetei machzekes. It has to be able to hold. Roishai verubai v'shalchani. Your head, the majority of your body, and don't forget about the table, which we already know. We call this 7 by 7 tvachim. Zayin al zayin. Din of Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak. Amar le Rav Abba. Asks Rav Abba. Kinyan ki Beis Shammai? Is this like Shitas Beis Shammai? Now, we don't really know who Beis Shammai is. It's a little bit not fair, but we're going to look in a moment. We'll see that on Daf Chav Ches there is a machlokes Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai whether a sukkah needs to hold Roishai, Rubai, Sholchanai. Moshe is here. All the naysayers that said he's not going to be here. Whether it needs to hold. What? You were the naysayer. But they were repeating the naysayer.
My wife was getting tablecloths for the Hanukkah party.
He'll get tablecloths. Moshe, sushi in the diet or no?
Yeah,
it's in the diet. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
So again, Zok the Gemara, on Daf Chav Ches, we're going to have a machlokes whether the sukkah needs to hold either Roishai Rubai Shalchane or just Roishai Rubai. Does it need to also hold your table? Beis Hillel holds it has to hold just Roishai Rubai. Beis Shammai holds it needs to hold the Roishai Rubai Shalchane. So says the Gemara, 12 lines from the top. First one line is Bar Yitzchak. Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak. Halacha says halacha sricha shetei machzekes Roishai Rubai v'Shalchane. Halacha is sukkah has to hold your head, your majority of your body, and your table. Amar le Rebbe Kim. Amar le Rav Abba. Kinyan ki Beis Shammai. Amar le, and the response is Ela Kinyan. Who else? Interesting response because we know Beis Hillel's other opinion, and we know we usually go with Beis Hillel, but that's what the Gemara says. Yeah, we're going with Beis Shammai. What's your problem? Lashon number 1 of the Gemara. Ikadi Amri always means a second Lashon. They basically the same thing in slightly different words. Ikadi Amri. Omar le Rav Abba. The Amr L'chamani. Rav Abba responds to Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak, whom holds like you, that you need Roishai Rubai v'Shalchanai. Amar le Beis Shammai v'lo tazos mina. It's Beis Shammai, and don't leave from it. So whichever lashon you go to, the Gemara is saying we're going with Beis Shammai. What?
Whichever one you go with, we're not holding like this.
There you go. Whichever one you go with, not go with Beis Shammai. That's the introduction to today. So you need a plate? I'm sorry. You got sauces.
Soy sauce.
You're finally a soy sauce guy. This one also? No. No. We're good. More soy sauce. No one ever touches the soy sauces. Says the Gemara, minimum size of a sukkah, Roishai Rubai Shalchanai, 7 by 7 tfachim, like whom? Beis Shammai. Maskiv la Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Asks Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, which this whole Gemara is a little bit difficult because this whole Gemara is sort of assuming you know Daf Chav Ches. We're on Daf Gimel and no one learned Daf Chav Ches. That's just sometimes what happens in Gemaras. Asks Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak.
I feel like it's also like whenever you're not like that at first, that's it. It's known.
Yeah. Who knows? Someone tells me. So Rashi here, good Nacht. Rashi here, Shtikl Kizasin. Masler Rav Nachman Yitzchak mimai de Beis Shammai Beis Hillel b'sukkah kitana pligi. How do we know Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are arguing about a sukkah kitana? Dilma suggests the Gemara. Perhaps b'sukkah gedayla pligi, meaning, and the truth is, I don't have a chavchas. We'll do it without explaining. We're looking at the Gemara inside. Ask the Gemara, how do you know they're arguing about the size of the sukkah? What do you mean? Didn't I just tell you they argue whether it needs to be Rosh Rubai V'Shalchana or is Rosh Rubai? Yes. But how do you know that's a size machlekes? What else? Says the Gemara. Dilma b'sukkah gedayla pligi. Maybe they're arguing about a sukkah gedayla, meaning maybe both of them are discussing a case of a large sukkah. It's bigger than 7 by 7 tvachim. So what's the machlekes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel? Ukegain, and for example, to Yosef that you are sitting a puma at the edge of Timat Tlasa, at the edge of the sukkah. We'll show a picture in a moment. V'shulchanai is in the house. So imagine we open these garage doors, and there's a sukkah right over there. So you're sitting in the sukkah, but the table is right here. So you're sitting in the sukkah, but the table is in the house. So what's the machlekes? The Beis Shammai savri. Beis Shammai hold it's no good. You only are yaitse if your sukkah tables in the sukkah. Why? Who cares if the table's in the sukkah? Says Beis Shammai, Gazrina, we make a gezerah. What can we get you? Gazrinan, tissues, I think the only thing I can't give you. Gazrinan, there you go. Shema yimsheich achar shulchanei. Says Beis Shammai, 1 second. If you're sitting in a sukkah, that the table's in the house, you know what we got to be worried about? Maybe you're going to go to reach and get something from on the table, and you're going to end up eating outside of the sukkah. So maybe the reason why Beis Shammai requires the table in the sukkah is not because of the size of the sukkah, but rather because of this gezerah. Ubeis Hillel savri loy gazrin. So let's do this right. Can you pass me a Gemara? Let's look at Av Chav Ches like a mensch for a moment. Everyone open up to Chav Ches Amid Aleph, and then we'll appreciate this, I think, a drop more. Says the Gemara over here, says the Mishnah. Mishnah on the bottom. Mi shahaya roishay v'rubai v'sukkah. V'sholchanai b'soich habayis. Okay? Your head, the majority of your body is in the sukkah. Your table is in the house. Beis Shammai poislim, ubeis Hillel machshirim. That's the whole line. So the case is one that the table is not in the sukkah. Says Beis Shammai it's no good. Says Beis Hillel it's good. So from here, the Gemara first assumed, what are they arguing about? The minimum size of a sukkah. You don't have a table in the sukkah. Beis Shammai says no good. Beis Hillel says yes, good. Asks the Gemara, how do you know that's the machlekes? Maybe it's a different machlekes. Maybe the case is it's really a large sukkah. Just in case anyone can't visualize, it's a little bit easy to visualize, but just in case, guy is sitting in the sukkah, and he is, and his table's in the house. His table's, we didn't need, which happens to be, well, we'll see. There are those who ask some sort of shaila. People are, no, in this shul we're married to women.
The women, the table is in the sukkah, but the women are in the house.
That's what he's saying.
The other way.
Yeah.
Small porches.
Exactly.
So I suck on the porch, and whichever men come to the meal, sit.
So I had this exact case. Some mamish chini porches. Yeah. You have mamish chini porches. Mamish enough to hold 2 chairs. So this is my whole sukkah, which is 7 by 7 tefachim. But where's the table? The table's all the way. Exactly. The table goes all the way that way. So 2 men can sit here. Then everyone else is there.
Women, even on the first night, are not.
Women are never chayiv in sukkah. They're allowed to make a bracha, also Ashkenaz and Paskin, but they're never chayiv. So says the Gemara, maybe that is the machlokes, meaning, and has nothing to do with the minimum size of the sukkah. Again, let's just bring it all back around. We started off today saying, what's the minimum size of a sukkah? 7 by 7 tefachim. And I told you your head, the majority of your body in your table. Said the Gemara, like whom? Like Beis Shammai. Ask Gemara, who says it's Beis Shammai? Maybe it's very simple that everyone agrees the sukkah needs to be 7 by 7, and rather, what's the machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel? If the table's not in the sukkah, do we make a gezerah or not? Says, yeah.
What's the alternative over here in this setup?
Yeah.
The whole case.
Yeah.
That the sukkah is only big enough for Rosh Rubo for Shulchan.
No. In which case? In the Mishnah?
No, over here where we just described.
Correct. So the question is it a kosher sukkah or not?
No, but now they're saying the argument is maybe it doesn't need the table.
Right. No, meaning again. We started. Let me say it one more time. We started off saying that the minimum sukkah is 7 by 7 tvachim. Asks Gemara, who is that like? Answers Gemara, Beis Shammai. Says Gemara, maybe it's not. Maybe it's even Beis Hillel. Why? Because maybe both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree you need 7 by 7. Their machlokes is a different detail. Are we worried they're going to jump on the table? It says the Gemara, V'teika nami, and I'll bring you a raya that really they're arguing about this. It says the host is in another meeting. I'm in the meeting. Gotta be kidding me. He says the host is in the meeting. Could someone send me the link? I'm on the link. What does that mean? Did I click on the... It's supposed to all be the same meeting. Can you send it to me as a text, please? Thank you.
I'm having trouble just getting that.
Just copy it. It's okay, copy both of it. For the computer will be easier. I sent it... 1 second. Forget it. I got it. I beat you.
So old.
Recording in progress.
Rabbi Stern, nice to see you. It's okay. Thank you for doing this. You know why? Not that you're going to learn Torah, because Rabbi Katzestein is officially signing up for him and the senior citizens are signing up how to use their iPhone. He's not trying to copy the thing.
I've been using text messages.
Aaron, do you have a course in the nursing home, Aaron?
Says,
Don't you feel like you answer text messages now more than you do WhatsApp? Because
I don't know what happened. I apologize. Continue. Okay. So says the Gemara, maybe they're arguing about what? The Gezerah, maybe you're going to climb on the table. V'deika nami, and I'll prove to you that this machlek is why. We just looked at the Mishnah, right? What were the words of the Mishnah? Dekatani, because the Mishnah said a case. Mishnah don't tell stories. Mishnahs usually say dinim. And that Mishnah said a story. Misha haya roisha v'ruba b'sukkah. Someone who had his hand in the majority of the body in the sukkah. V'sholchana b'sukkah b'ayis v'shavi paisel b'm'asel machshirim. V'im isa. And if the machlokes Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel was what? Was fundamental whether the sukkah needed to be able to hold the table. Machzekes ve'enoi machzekes mi ba'ilei. Then the Mishnah should have said what? Should have said very simple. Could it hold it or not? Machzek is able to hold it. Should have said Beis Shammai savar sukkah tzricha shetei. Machzek is Rosh Ruba Shulchan. Beis Hillel savar Rosh Ruba. Period. Why is the Mishnah telling the story? The story seems to indicate what? That it's a gezerah. That the machlokes Beis Shammai says you're going to jump on the table. Period. Says the Gemara. Okay, nice raya. But 1 second. Ubesukkah ketana loy pligi. Is it true that you don't argue about a sukkah ketana? What do you mean? V'atanya, we have a brayso. Says in the brayso, machzek is Rosh Hashanah ksheira. Says the brayso that if it could hold Rosh Hashanah, it's kosher. Rebbe Omer achiba arba'amis. Rebbe says it has to be 4 by 4. V'tani idach, that's one brayso. Now we have another brayso. Rebbe Omer kol sukkah shein arba'amis psula. V'chachamim oimrim, and that's the sheet that's switching. Afilu einoi machzekes elo roish of ruba kesheira vilu sholchanui, and yet the table like katani. So the first brisa said, what do the chachamim hold? It has to hold roish ruba sholchanui. The second brisa says, what do the chachamim hold? It has to hold roishai and rubai, not sholchanui. Contradiction in brisas. Stira and brisas kashan adadi. So how do we answer up a simple stira? Elo lav. What am I going to tell you? Very easy. Shema mina habe Shammai, habe Hillel. So what do we see now? We see now that they are arguing about the minimum size of the sukkah. Givaldik. Amar Marzucha, wait. Masnisa nami deka. I'll prove to you that they are arguing. From where? The same Mishnah. Same Mishnah. The Mishnah has proved us tell you a story. Yeah, it said Misha Yerushu b'sukkah v'shachan b'techabayis. What were the words? Midiktani b'shamai paislin v'sil machshirim. It says pasal kasher. What's pasal kasher? Pasal kasher isn't a gezerah. Pasal kasher is on the item, on the sukkah. It is pasal. V'misa. And if they were arguing about the size of the sukkah, b'shamai yarim lo yatsa, because the sukkah itself is kasher. Just b'shamai saying, bring the table into the sukkah. And if it's not, you're not yoyte because it's a gezerah. Ubeiselo aimrim yatsa mi ba'ilei. So now we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We have a brisa proving they are arguing about a minimum size of the sukkah. The Mishnah goes both ways. So classically says the Gemara, Velikasha Mishahaya. But the first part of the Mishnah is shver, because it tells you a story. So again, let's just get this clear. The first part of the Mishnah says a story. What does the story indicate? That they're arguing about not the size of the sukkah, but rather is there a gezerah? But then the words of Beishan Beisil, Pasul and Kosher sound like the sukkah itself and not the story. So that's a stira. Says the Gemara, beautiful. We have Shalom al Yisrael Lailam. Betarti pligi. They argue about both. Pligi b'sukkah kitana or pligi b'sukkah gedayla. They argue about both. The chasure mechsur. Now in classical Gemara form, take out your sledgehammer, take out your editing pen, and let's start writing a new Mishnah. V'hachi katani. This is how we're supposed to read the Mishnah. Mi shaya reishav ruba b'sukkah. Someone who has his head and his body in the sukkah. V'shachana b'techabayis. That part is the same, but Beishame Oimrim Lo Yatsa now. Ubeisil Oimrim Yatsa. V'she'enoi machzekes al teroishoy v'rubai bilvad. Beishame Poislin Ubeisil el machshirin. So says the Gemara Givaldik. So now we go full circle. Lemaisa. What's the minimum size of the sukkah? As we started off today, 7 by 7. Who she does that? Beis Shammai. Do they argue about this? Yes. Do they also argue about a gezerah? Absolutely. We'll just end with a fascinating halach lamaisa, which we mentioned the other day. There was a restaurant. I got to get the picture. There was a restaurant that had little pop-up sukkahs for every table. So they had a table. One side is for the wife. She doesn't need a sukkah. And then the husband sitting in a little pop-up sukkah. Kasha is, what happened to this? We paskin like...
7 by 7.
We pass it, so it was 77, but we also paskin that there's a gezerah. That if your shulchan is not in your sukkah, it's pasul.
So there was the table.
Yeah.
There was one side was a chair. And
Yes.
the other side was a pop-up.
Yes. So how do they get out of it? I don't know what this restaurant did, but the halacha is, if the table is one tefach into the sukkah, then there's no gezerah. Because then the only gezerah is if the whole table is out of the sukkah. That's what we paskin lach l'maisa. Fascinating detail.
Is kosher.
Here we can't tell. You don't see this. No, you don't see the table. No. Yeah, but theoretically, correct. All you need is one tefach lalach l'maisa, says the Mishmura. Fascinating detail. Rabbi Aaron, I'm sorry we can't.